When I first started this research project, I always thought that affirmative action was a way or a law that helped African American people or women get jobs that they probably weren't qualified for or didn't deserve. When I was asked to do this research project with Miss Chelsea Steinway, we were both under the opinion and had our own separate opinions of what affirmative action really was. According to the definition, affirmative action is an active effort to improve the employment and educational opportunities for minority groups and women. Taking that, Chelsea used her materials and research opportunity to be able to describe a historical aspect of affirmative action and finding that affirmative action actually dates back to the administration of President John Kennedy. Um, of course, it was used a term that was used very loosely back then. Now it's actually been ejected, and our paper will begin to describe that as we move along. Chelsea also talked about some social changes that brought affirmative action and its planning into more of a forefront. To be able to support that, she used legal terminology and the legal environment around affirmative action in the workplace. Um, to kind of back up and support what Chelsea uh, researched, I discussed the purposes of an affirmative action plan in a workplace, but we both began to find that, from our material, that the educational environment around affirmative action planning was probably the best route for us to take. So we included in there the 5 steps of an affirmative action program or a good affirmative action program and plan. Um, and to follow that, we used 3 case studies from 3 different states, and that affirmative action started out on a college campus, and then it became reverse discrimination for students that actually qualified to be in these programs, but not off of they didn't qualify according to their gender or their race. They qualified scholastically, and because the seats that were available for those that were qualified scholastically eliminated them from the program because they didn't qualify racially or gender wise. Specifically, Hopwood versus Texas. Um, Miss Cheryl Hopwood qualified to be in the law school there, according to her grades, but she was disqualified because she didn't fit under the criteria of affirmative action, and thereby brought a complaint against the University of Texas Law School in Austin. She thereby won her case, and then it set off a different type of trend in the state of Texas, which in the in our research paper I talked about House Bill 588, which eliminated any type of racial or gender motivated selection criteria to be selected into the program, and thereby a student can be selected according to what's most important, and that's their scholastic achievements. This case was also piggybacked by the University of California. After much research, it found that they as well were using race and gender criteria to select their students for their programs, and thereby bought a lawsuit, or not a lawsuit, but a correction from the Department of Justice, United States Department of Justice. And the state of California was then given the okay to pass Proposition 209, which also eliminated any type of racial or gender motivation to in its selection process of its students at its top universities. Um, but as of current, the University of Michigan has Gratz versus Bollinger and Grutter versus Bollinger. Both of those cases have not yet, um, as of the time of this research paper, have not yet had any findings, but I'm assuming that it'll follow the path of the University of Texas or the state of Texas and the state of California and passing a bill that eliminates any type of racial or gender motivated selection process in its universities or employment process. So actually, our paper started out trying to support affirmative action, but we ended up finding out that affirmative action really is kind of outdated now in many states. States also like Florida from research, but it was not included in our paper. But um, as of date and time, I believe that affirmative action had its run, um, and it did what it was supposed to do. But as time went on, we began to see that affirmative action now is no longer needed, and it's supported in our research paper. I had a lot of fun with it. Thank you.